keeping up with everything, then you know pretty much about President Claudia Gay from Harvard. And she was in Capitol Hill. She made some statements, Capitol Hill, um, where it didn't seem like she really cared about the Jewish people on campus. And so they made her, Harvard kind of made her um, go up in front of Congress and kind of apologize and say, well, you know what, this is what I really meant. Free speech. This is what I really meant. We do care about our students. And it seemed like pretty much everybody thought that she was going to resign or going to be fired because it was a bad look on Harvard. But surprisingly, Harvard decided to keep her. And Aikman, after he wrote that letter, even he said he was surprised that she's still around. So Harvard put together a letter, and when they put together this letter, when she went to Congress, they didn't let anybody know that she was under investigation for plagiarism, which is interesting. So if you know what plagiarism is, it's copying people. It's doing things that you're not supposed to do. Okay. Writing somebody's saying, taking portions of it and putting it in a fashion where it looks like, I wonder if that was copied. So on our story, after we do the opening of it, we're going to show you copies of things that she wrote that you can see here that was copied from somebody else's stuff. Some people claim it's plagiarism, some people claim it wasn't. So Harvard wrote a letter, and they gave it to the faculty alumni and told them, okay, well, you know what? We support her no matter what. And I want you to understand this story because I'm going to break it down piece by piece. So while I'm getting my stuff together to break it down, I'm going to have Anthony, as he's putting together his stuff, read the letter. And thank you, Anthony. I guess I am the letter reader today. But I still like to keep it simple, keep it honest, and keep it real. You know, that last letter that we read was a long letter, but hopefully you got something out of that. I appreciate you sitting down and either watching me read that letter or listening to me, but at least hopefully you were enjoying it, and hopefully you made a difference where you could ask us questions as far as that letter was concerned. So speaking of letter, the second one that we have was written by Harvard. And this was regarding this lady right here. We know her as the president. Her name is Claudia Gay. And she's the president of Harvard. You know, she's been taking some flack. And in that last letter that we read from Aikman, he has some concerns about what she was doing. So hopefully now she's tried to get herself together and kind of understand what Aikman and other people were talking about. If you're the president, no matter what company you're the president of, you're the face of that organization. So hopefully she'll become that face in a good light. But the way that it's looking, So backstory, and the reason Anthony has brought me on, Miss Gay. Harvard decided to write a letter saying, because, you know, there was pressure for her to resign from everybody across the country. And Harvard said, well, you know what? She's the face of our university. and we stand by her. So as they were putting out this letter, which was interesting, they did not say that for the past few months that Harvard was conducting a plagiarism investigation. And they knew about this when she went in front of Congress, but they didn't let Congress know this. So here's the letter that Harvard wrote, where they talked about the things that was happening with her. It goes like this. So this letter was how Harvard both revealed that Claudia Gay was being investigated for possible plagiarism and that it had cleared her, even though she is now asking for 4 corrections in 2 published articles. So when you have a professor that's accused of plagiarism, and now they're a president of a college, something to think about. But this is the letter that Harvard put together. As members of the Harvard Corporation, we today reaffirm our support for President Gay's continued leadership of Harvard University. Our extensive deliberations affirm our confidence that President Gay is the right leader to help our community heal and to address the very serious societal issues we are facing. So many people have suffered tremendous damage and pain because of Hamas' brutal terrorist attack. And the university's initial statement should have been an immediate, direct, and unequivocated condemnation. Calls for genocide are despicable and contrary to fundamental human values. President Gay has apologized for how she handled her congressional testimony and has committed to redoubling the university's fight against anti-Semitism. With regard to President Gay's academic writings, the university became aware in late October of allegations regarding these articles. Sorry about that. At President Gay's request, the fellows promptly initiated an independent review by distinguished political scientists and conducted a review of her published work. On December 9th, the fellows reviewed the results, which revealed a few instances of inadequate citations. While the analysts found no violation of Harvard standards for research misconduct, President Gay is proactively requesting 4 corrections in 2 articles to insert citations and quotation marks that were omitted from the original publication. In this tumultuous and difficult time, we unanimously stand in support of President Gay. At Harvard, we champion open discourse and academic freedom, and we are united in our strong belief that calls for violence against our students and disruptions of the classroom experience will not be tolerated. Harvard's mission is advancing knowledge, research, and discovery that will help address deep societal issues and promote constructive discourse. And we are confident now that President Gay will lead Harvard forward toward accomplishing this vital work. This was how Harvard both revealed that Claudia Gay was being investigated again for possible plagiarism and that it had cleared her, even though she is now asking for 4 corrections in 2 published articles. So, as I stumbled a little bit on that, Harvard has pretty much said, we stand behind her. She is the face and the future of Harvard. Oh, yeah. And by the way, while we're standing by her, we're also investigating a couple of plagiarism accusations that have been levied against her. And so what Anthony's going to do after I finish this, he's going to go into this investigative story, which I thought was really interesting that the Post uncovered. And he's going to compare and contrast and see if there's any plagiarism dealing with President Gay. And he won't just talk about it, he'll show it, and then you can also look. So there are some people who said there was no plagiarism, other people said that there was, but Harvard University is standing by. She's okay. Oh, and by the way, we're going to let her correct and put in some quotations in some of the stuff that she wrote. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Because remember, we keep it simple, we keep it honest, we keep it real. As Anthony goes step by step, you're going to really enjoy this into this invasive investigative story, which was done by the Post regarding Miss Gay and whether she did some plagiarism. You be the judge. Thank you again. Back to you, Anthony. And thank you again, Anthony. You already did the promo, so I don't even have to do the promo now because you've done it. I just thank you for helping out. Told you we would be talking about letters a lot on this show, and again, the tie-ins as far as the Gaza war, Israel, Jews, Hamas, the Palestinians, and Harvard. Harvard, as they would say. So, you know this lady right here. She is Claudia Gay. She's the president of Harvard. And this is interesting. So, like I said before, she was in front of Congress. And they wanted her to kind of straighten up her aloofness as far as not caring. All it did was make it worse. So what the college did was they put out that letter, which Anthony read. And while they put out that letter, they also said that she was kind of under investigation for plagiarism. So to me, you get fired for like plagiarism, but they're still supporting her. So the question is, why are people still supporting her? All right. So I'm going to give you examples of what she did. Make sure I got some room here. So here she goes, Claudia. So the college had announced that it had investigated whether some of her academic work was plagiarized and had cleared her. Look at this now. It had cleared her of breaching the college's standards for research misconduct. Instead, it said that she would request 4 corrections in 2 publications to insert citations and quotation marks that were ordinarily omitted. And I look at this too. Harvard, you put together a paper, nobody noticed the quotations being missed. So there was this investigation by the Post, and they said that Harvard spent weeks failing to come clean about her being investigated, staying quiet when she even was in front of Congress for that really weird testimony she had. Harvard only disclosed the investigation when the university's governing body, Harvard Corporation, said it had unanimously stood behind her despite a firestorm of criticism for her evidence to Congress. Gay had vigorously defended her academic record in comments to the Boston Globe after the dissertation questions were revealed, and she said, "I stand by the integrity of my scholarship. Throughout my career, I have worked to ensure my scholarship adheres to the highest academic standards." So we're going to take a look at that. So the statement issued to members of the Harvard community said that the probe began in late October after Harvard became aware of allegations about Gay. But the statement did not tell the full story, including how Harvard called in many powerful attorneys to protect her. So the newspaper, The Post, had contacted the university asking for comment on more than 24 instances in which Gay's words appeared to closely be similar to other words, phrases, or sentences in published works that she had and by other academics. And we're going to show you. So one of the academics whose work Gay closely was similar to was George Reed Andrews. He said it did not rise to the level of plagiarism. That's what he said, even though it may have been close. All right. That's one person. Ann Williamson, that's her of Miami University, Ohio, said she was shocked. She was shocked by the parallels to her work in one of Gay's papers and said, it does look like plagiarism to me. It does look like plagiarism to me. I'm gonna let you guys judge. Okay? Does it look like plagiarism? Does it look like plagiarism? My highlights, if you can see them, at the bottom and at the top. Highlights at the top. Centers were to be formed in work areas, villages, prisons, canopy and unbed Timpex, Samba schools, churches, and favelas. There we go. Let's get close to me now. And Colvin wrote, there were to be formed in work areas, villages, prisons, canopy and umbada temples, Samba schools, foxes, churches, and falas. Let me know if you see anything similar with that. Okay. So there were 27 instances in 2 academic papers published in 2 peer-reviewed journals between 2011 and 2017, and an article in the academic magazine in 1993. So we're going all the way back, 1993, almost 30 years ago, where supposedly there was plagiarism. But why is it getting caught now, if B, when she's now president of Harvard? So the Post publication was sent the material anonymously because people wonder, well, how did they get that? Maybe somebody who's trying to bring her down. Maybe she's innocent. Maybe she's guilty. But you know what? When they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, so is also, written material. So after they had the material, the Post conducted their own analysis before asking Harvard to comment on whether Gay had plagiarized or failed to properly cite other academics' works. So now when the Post, this is interesting, brought the allegations to Harvard, Jonathan Swain, its senior executive director of media relations and communications, asked for more time to review Gay's work. I mean, how much time does it take? You send people copies of the publication where she supposedly plagiarized, and you read them, and you do some research, and then you know. A day later, Swain, who was part of the Biden-Harris transition team and a one-time Hillary Clinton aide, said he would not get back in touch. Said he would get back in touch over the next couple of days. So the question is, did he get back in touch? He did not. So 2 days later, the Post was sent a 15-page letter by Thomas Clare, a high-powered Virginia-based attorney with the firm Clare Locke, who identified himself as defamation counsel for Harvard University and Gay. So they stepped up their ground. Didn't really answer, hey, is this plagiarism copies or not? So the letter contained comments from academics whose work Gay was alleged to have improperly cited, even though the political science review could only just have begun. So they did that real quick. They had some people respond. Harvard has still not said what works Gay is seeking to have corrected and whether her dissertation will be corrected. Now, the date on the 3 works reviewed by the Post range from 1993, when Gay was a postgraduate student, until 2017, when she was Dean of Social Science at the school's Facility of Arts and Sciences. And as she's constantly moving up, they didn't check to see, is any of her work copied? Is it fake? Gay, she assumed office as Harvard's first Black president earlier this year. And one thing that I don't want anybody to say, oh, they're coming after her because she's Black. No, she could be white and also be in the same situation that she's in. So no color coding this, please. But I know some people are. So Jonathan Bailey, who heads up Plagiarism Now and has worked as an expert witness involving plagiarism cases, he reviewed the papers in question and said he believes that some of Gay's work did violate Harvard's own academic policy on citations. So here we go here. Here's another one. Get what Gay wrote up top. And what Anna Slow Abel here and Snyder Jr. wrote. So you see I have them highlighted. To measure the direction in which the governing party skews funds, I include the interaction between which party holds the governor's office and county partnership. Specifically, allows for different slopes. And if you read this down here, says the same thing that I highlighted and allows for different slopes. So maybe the words are changed just a little bit. So this was a second instance from Urban Affairs Review in 2017 when Gay was Dean of Social Science at Harvard. Harvard has not said what papers, again, she is seeking to have corrected. So look at this now. So there's no question. So what are we to make of this? It is a violation of the policy, and that alone should justify a thorough examination, said Bailey in an email to the Post. Think about this. Academics whose work appeared startlingly similar to Gay's differed in whether they felt she had appropriated their work without attribution. So some people feel that she copied, other people feel she didn't. George Reed Andrews, again, professor of history at the University of Pittsburgh, and this is interesting. He acknowledged that Gay did borrow a few of my phrases in her 1993 article, Between Black and White, The Complexity of Brazilian Race Relations. Now that's an interesting title. This is from Reed Andrews' paper, Black Political Protests in Sao Paulo, 1888 to 1988, which appeared in the Journal of Latin American Studies in 1992. His response, kind of flippant, but this happens fairly often in academic writing, and for me, does not rise to the level of plagiarism, he said. I am glad she read my work, learned from it, and recommended it to her readers. I guess that's a form of flattery is copying. So Jans Ludwig, an economist at the University of Chicago, had a similar response when contacted by the Post in October about similarities in a paper he co-authored in 2008 and Gay's Moving to Opportunity, The Political Effects of a Housing Mobility Experiment, published in Urban Affairs Review in 2011. We partner with Claudine on some work, and my guess would be that that is the connection. Yeah, the connection is, are we copying each other? Among the papers under scrutiny are 2017's A Room for One's Own, The Partisan Allocation of Affordable Housing. Now, this was published in Urban Affairs Review, and it was written while Gay was Dean of Social Science at Harvard. And it goes a little something like this. What Gay wrote, and it's highlighted. I also construct a county level measure that captures the financial incentives developers have to build or rehabilitate affordable housing in the most impoverished places. That's what she wrote down here. As an instrument for low income housing development, we construct a county level measure that captures the incentives developers have to build or rehabilitate affordable housing in certain areas. Again, what's highlighted is what the same as highlighted from the top to the bottom. So you can see yourself. Do you think this plagiarism? This was a second instance from Urban Affairs Review in 2017 when Gay was Dean of Social Science at Harvard. So in the paper, Gay uses phrases which closely parallel ones in a 2011 paper by Ann Williamson. Again, we've talked about her. Williamson told the Post now that she was angry when she read the excerpts. It does look like plagiarism to me, she said. If they're going to do what they did, then I should be cited as a reference. My first reaction is shock. The second reaction is puzzlement. There was a way to draw from my paper. All she had to do is give me credit. And here we go. Last but not least, what Gay wrote. The LIHTC is widely considered one of the nation's most successful housing programs and accounts for an estimated 1/6 of all multi-family housing, subsidized or unsubsidized, built in the United States since program inception. What Williamson wrote. Further, the LIHTC is responsible for an estimated 1/6 of all multifamily rental housing, both subsidized and unsubsidized, produced in the United States each year. This, again, was one of the 27 instances which the Post asked Harvard to comment on. It was published in the peer-reviewed journal Urban Affairs in 2011. So as you look at this again, we're going to try to get a close-up one more time. You let me know if it looks the same. So is she giving credit where credit is due, or is she not giving credit? And as of this time that we're talking about this, the Post has not even received any more answers on this. So people across the country know about the story now. They're saying, why, if this stuff is plagiarized, isn't she being held accountable for that? So Harvard is doubling down, and man, it's going to keep her. You heard the letter, a recommendation that was read as far as keeping her because of, the statements she made or didn't make involving Gaza and the war. And now we find out, wow, this lady, she may have did something dealing with journalism and plagiarizing. And wow, why isn't she being held accountable? I don't know. But as I said, all of these are tie-ins. Okay. And as we're seeing this crazy world as we know it and everything's happening, what are we gonna do? Well, I'm gonna show you, but I think I am better off telling you.
We go now.
Okay, go ahead.
This is Brother Cornel West, and it has been my blessing and joy to be in such high quality conversation with Brother Anthony Parker of Keeping It Honest. Make sure you never miss his show.
And thank you very much. That was Dr. Cornel West, who is currently running for president. You may have seen some pieces of me and him talking if you checked out my show. Again, it's Keeping It Honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker. Make sure you tell your friends. All right.